Week 5 Fantasy Football Wrap-Up. Marvin Harrison Jr. Should fantasy managers be concerned? Marvin Harrison Jr. struggled to make an impact in a tough outing for the Arizona Cardinals, who faced the San Francisco 49ers. Despite his talent, Harrison Jr. has yet to record more than 5 catches in any game this season, raising concerns for fantasy managers. With Kyler Murray's passing game showing inconsistency, averaging just 176.5 yards against non-Rams opponents, Harrison's fantasy value may continue to dwindle if this trend persists. Game highlights: Arizona Cardinals at San Francisco 49ers. Kyler Murray showcased his dual-threat ability with a 50-yard touchdown run but struggled in the passing game, only averaging 6.5 yards per attempt. He finished the game with a season-high 7 rushing attempts, which is encouraging for his fantasy outlook. Marvin Harrison Jr. had a quiet game, overshadowed by Trey McBride, who led the Cardinals in targets upon his return. Brock Purdy had a mixed performance, struggling with efficiency but connecting with Brandon Ayuk for 91 yards in the first quarter. Jordan Mason led the rushing attack but fumbled at a critical moment. Baltimore Ravens at Cincinnati Bengals. Lamar Jackson had a monster game with 42 pass attempts and 12 carries, solidifying his status as a top fantasy QB. Joe Burrow threw for nearly 400 yards and a career-high 5 touchdowns. Looking fully healthy, Jamar Chase had a stellar outing with 193 yards and 2 touchdowns. T. Higgins also found the end zone twice, further bolstering the Bengals' offense. Indianapolis Colts at Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence had a breakout performance with a career-high 371 passing yards, while Tank Bigsby made a name for himself, outsnapping Travis Etienne Jr. for the first time. Brian Thomas Jr. caught an 85-yard touchdown, establishing himself as a key part of the Jaguars' offense. Buffalo Bills at Houston Texans. Josh Allen struggled mightily with only 131 passing yards, raising alarms for fantasy owners. Nico Collins caught a 67-yard touchdown but left the game with a hamstring injury. His status will need monitoring. Carolina Panthers at Chicago Bears. DJ Moore shone with 2 touchdowns, while DeAndre Swift continued his strong performance but faced some tough goal line situations. Caleb Williams showed improvement, nearly finishing as a top 5 fantasy QB. New York Giants at Seattle Seahawks. Daniel Jones stepped up in tough circumstances, showcasing his running ability. Kenneth Walker III was limited in rushing yards, while Jackson Smith-Njigba found the end zone. Green Bay Packers at Los Angeles Rams. Jordan Love struggled through injuries, while Josh Jacobs finally found the end zone. Tucker Kraft emerged as a top tight end option with 2 touchdown receptions. Dallas Cowboys at Pittsburgh Steelers. Dak Prescott rebounded with a strong performance, including the game-winning touchdown. Rico Dowdle emerged as a reliable RB option, scoring well against a tough defense. New York Jets at Minnesota Vikings. Aaron Jones left early with an injury, creating opportunity for Ty Chandler, who could be a hot waiver wire pick. Breece Hall struggled but had solid usage despite a tough matchup. Cleveland Browns at Washington Commanders. Deshaun Watson continued to struggle, making him nearly unplayable in fantasy leagues. Brian Robinson Jr. had 2 touchdowns but saw limited touches in a commanding win. Las Vegas Raiders at Denver Broncos. Javonte Williams led the team in both rushing and receiving, but lost key scoring opportunities. Troy Franklin dropped a potential touchdown that could have shifted the game. Miami Dolphins at New England Patriots. Ramondre Stevenson had a strong outing, scoring a touchdown and leading the backfield. Sunday Night Football recap. Cowboys edge Steelers 20-17. In a thrilling finish, the Dallas Cowboys overcame a series of missteps to secure a dramatic 20-17 victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers. The game featured a nail-biting final quarter with multiple lead changes, showcasing resilience from both teams. Key moments. Game-winning drive. With just 20 seconds left, Dak Prescott connected with Jalen Tolbert on a 4-yard touchdown pass on 4th down, sealing the win for Dallas. Critical turnovers. Prescott struggled with 3 turnovers, including a costly interception in the end zone and a fumble at the Pittsburgh 1-yard line. Despite these mistakes, He managed to rally the team when it mattered most. Red zone woes. The Cowboys' red zone efficiency was abysmal, going 0 for 3 on critical drives that ended at the Steelers' 11, 15, 15, and 20-yard lines, resulting in only 3 points from those opportunities. Game statistics. Dak Prescott, 29 of 42, 352 yards, 2 TDs, 2 INTs. Rico Dowdle, a standout performance with 20 carries for 87 yards and a touchdown, along with 2 catches for 27 yards. Jalen Tolbert led the receiving corps with 7 receptions for 87 yards, including the game winner. Steelers offense. Justin Fields was 15 of 27 for 131 yards, throwing 2 touchdowns, but the offense struggled overall, with Najee Harris managing only 42 rushing yards. Defensive highlights. TJ Watt was a force for the Steelers, recording 1.5 sacks, marking his 101st career sack. Post-game analysis. Despite dominating statistically, the Cowboys' inability to convert in the red zone nearly cost them the game. However, Prescott's late-game heroics and the emergence of players like Tolbert and Dowdle provide a silver lining for Dallas. On the flip side, the Steelers' offense remains inconsistent, raising concerns as they fall to 3-2 alongside the Cowboys. Both teams now look ahead to crucial matchups as they aim to establish their identities in a competitive season. Week 5 Care, Don't Care Recap. Key insights from Cowboys win and other takeaways. 5 things I care about. Emergence of Cowboys ancillary players. With Brandon Cooks on IR, Jalen Tolbert stepped up, leading the Cowboys in receiving yards with 87 and scoring the game-winning touchdown. His performance, coupled with Jake Ferguson's solid play as a reliable tight end, indicates the Cowboys may have found some much-needed depth. Rico Dowdle also shined, taking over the backfield with 20 carries, suggesting a shift away from Ezekiel Elliott's previous role. If these players continue to develop, the Cowboys' offense could gain a new dimension. Brian Thomas Jr.'s rising stardom. After a standout performance, Brian Thomas Jr. is making a case as one of the best wide receivers from the 2024 draft class. His combination of size, 6'3", 209 pounds, and speed, 4.33 40-yard dash, allows him to stretch the field effectively. With Trevor Lawrence targeting him frequently, Thomas could solidify his role as Jacksonville's go-to receiver. Jaden Daniels' poised performance. Facing a tough Browns defense, Jaden Daniels demonstrated maturity beyond his experience. Despite a lower completion percentage, he managed to average 12.5 yards per attempt while under pressure, showing adaptability and skill. This performance suggests he is becoming a reliable option in fantasy, capable of producing even against formidable opponents. Concerns for the Texans' offense. The Texans struggled offensively without key players like Joe Mixon and Nico Collins, indicating their reliance on these talents for production. With Collins' hamstring injury, the team's passing game suffered, exposing vulnerabilities in depth. Until their primary playmakers return, the Texans' offensive ceiling appears limited. Lamar Jackson's passing game evolution. In a significant shift, Lamar Jackson took charge of the Ravens' passing attack, throwing for 3 touchdowns against the Bengals. This marks a departure from a run-heavy strategy, showcasing Jackson's ability to distribute the ball effectively among various receivers. This newfound balance could elevate the Ravens' offensive potential moving forward. 5 things I don't care about. Steelers' offense limitations. The Steelers' offense continues to underperform, with a stagnant running game and inconsistent passing. Najee Harris struggled, and the lack of usage for George Pickens raises concerns about the team's offensive direction. The current state of affairs suggests little hope for a turnaround in the near future. Jordan Love's inconsistency. While Jordan Love displayed some reckless tendencies, the Packers are committed to his development. His aggressive play style might lead to turnovers, but it also opens up opportunities for big plays. The coaching staff seems willing to accept the trade-off for his potential upside. Broncos offense struggles. The Broncos offense remains uninspiring under rookie Bo Nix. Despite having a competent defense, the offense's design and execution leave much to be desired, making it hard to expect significant improvement in the short term. Davante Adams' Jets aspirations. Despite Davante Adams expressing interest in joining the Jets due to his connection with Aaron Rodgers, it's clear that the Jets' current struggles render them a less appealing destination for a player seeking a Super Bowl. The issues plaguing the Jets' offense go beyond just personnel. Bills' offensive inconsistency. The Bills' early season success feels like a distant memory as they struggle against quality defenses. Their inability to generate consistent separation from receivers raises concerns, particularly with upcoming matchups against formidable defenses. Until they find a rhythm, their offensive potential remains in doubt. Conclusion. Week 5 offered a mix of promising developments and ongoing concerns across the league. The emergence of new talent within the Cowboys, Jaguars, and Ravens provides hope for their respective offenses, while the struggles of teams like the Steelers, Texans, and Jets highlight areas in need of significant improvement. As the season progresses, monitoring these trends will be crucial for fantasy implications and playoff prospects. Week 5 instant reactions. Sky is falling for Jets and Browns. Bills and 49ers stumble. Jason Fitz and Frank Schwab dive into the Sunday NFL slate, breaking down key takeaways from each game and discussing the shifting narratives around struggling teams and rising stars. Key matchups and takeaways. 1. Cowboys at Steelers, 150. Takeaway. The Cowboys displayed resilience despite a shaky performance from Dak Prescott, who overcame turnovers to lead a late comeback. Fitz and Schwab praised the defensive effort that kept them in the game. 2. Bills at Texans, 8 o'clock. Takeaway. The Bills' loss raises questions about their consistency. Schwab argues that the Bills may not be the dominant force many expected, pointing to missed opportunities and lack of execution. 3. Ravens at Bengals, 15-45. Takeaway. The tightness of the AFC North is evident, with both teams showing flashes of brilliance. Fitz highlights Lamar Jackson's leadership and the Ravens' offensive potency, while Schwab mentions Joe Burrow's resilience despite early struggles. 4. Jets at Vikings, 23-55. Takeaway. The sky is indeed falling in New Jersey. The Jets' offense looks disjointed, and questions about Aaron Rodgers' health loom large. Fitz emphasizes the need for a turnaround, while Schwab suggests a possible reassessment of coaching strategies. 5. Panthers at Bears, 31-30. Takeaway. A battle of struggling teams led to minimal excitement. The hosts agree that both franchises are in dire need of a fresh start, especially with their quarterback situations. 6. Colts at Jaguars, 33-45. Takeaway. Jaden Daniels' rise continues to impress, with the rookie quarterback making a case for MVP considerations. Fitz notes that the Jaguars' first win offers a glimmer of hope, while the Colts must regroup. 7. Raiders at Broncos, 36-45. Takeaway. A lackluster matchup with little to celebrate for either side. Fitz and Schwab question the effectiveness of both teams and suggest that significant changes may be on the horizon. 8. Browns at Commanders, 42-05. Takeaway. The Browns' struggles lead to calls for a quarterback change as Deshaun Watson's performance continues to disappoint. The Commanders capitalize on the mistakes, moving forward with a much-needed victory. 9. Dolphins at Patriots, 52-15. Takeaway. The Dolphins continue to demonstrate offensive firepower, while the Patriots' woes deepen. Fitz suggests the Patriots may be at a crossroads, needing to make critical adjustments. 10. Cardinals at 49ers, 53-15. Takeaway. The 49ers' unexpected stumble raises eyebrows. Schwab notes that while they were favorites, inconsistency could hinder their season moving forward. 11. Giants at Seahawks, 55-15. Takeaway. The Giants' upset win over the Seahawks showcases their potential resurgence. Fitz points out Daniel Jones' performance as a positive sign amidst the chaos. 12. Packers at Rams, 58-05. Takeaway. Both teams are looking to solidify their playoff aspirations. The hosts emphasize the need for strong performances to remain competitive. Final thoughts, 59-55. As they preview the Monday night matchup between the Saints and Chiefs, Fitz and Schwab highlight the potential for fireworks and critical implications for both teams in the playoff race. Conclusion. Week 5 was a rollercoaster of emotions, with several teams facing critical junctures in their seasons. The hosts emphasized the need for teams like the Jets and Browns to address their issues quickly, while emerging stars like Jaden Daniels could reshape the narrative in the weeks to come. Week 5 recap, highlights and insights. As Week 5 of the NFL season wraps up, several performances and outcomes have significant fantasy implications. Andy Behrens and Matt Harmon break down the action, categorizing the games by their relevance to fantasy managers. 1. Sunday Night Football, Cowboys vs. Steelers. Care, don't care. Matt's take. Harmon reflects on the Dallas Cowboys' thrilling late victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers, emphasizing Dak Prescott's pivotal moments, including a crucial fumble recovery that set up the game-winning touchdown. Despite the struggles and turnovers, the win boosts the Cowboys' confidence moving forward. 2. Games we care about the most. Ravens vs. Bengals. In a classic shootout, both offenses shined. Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow delivered stellar performances, highlighting their status as elite fantasy quarterbacks. The implications for both teams in the AFC North are significant, with playoff implications looming. Colts vs. Jaguars. Jaden Daniels continues to impress, throwing for over 300 yards and demonstrating his dual-threat ability. The Jaguars' first win of the season is a relief, but questions remain about their consistency moving forward. Bills vs. Texans. This matchup showcased Buffalo's dominance and reaffirmed their status as a top team in the league. Caleb Williams also shined, further solidifying his position as a top fantasy asset. 3. Games we sort of care about. Jets vs. Vikings. The Jets' offense is in a state of flux, and while Rodgers has the ability to turn it around, the struggles against a solid Vikings defense raise concerns for fantasy owners. Packers vs. Rams. Both teams are fighting for relevance in a crowded NFC playoff picture. Key injuries could affect their respective fantasy values going forward. Cardinals vs. 49ers. The 49ers continue to dominate, but the Cardinals' resilience makes them an interesting watch, especially for deeper fantasy leagues. Giants vs. Seahawks. The Giants' surprising victory offers hope for a turnaround this season, with Daniel Jones showing flashes of his potential. 4. Games that could have been an email. Browns vs. Commanders. A lackluster performance from both teams leaves little to be excited about from a fantasy perspective. Panthers vs. Bears. With both teams struggling, this matchup did not deliver the expected drama or fantasy implications. Raiders vs. Broncos. A snooze fest that did nothing to enhance the fantasy outlooks of key players. Dolphins vs. Patriots. The Dolphins' offense is explosive, but the Patriots' struggles make this game less compelling than anticipated. Fantasy implications moving forward. As the season progresses, injuries and team dynamics will play crucial roles in shaping fantasy lineups. Key performances from players like Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels will be pivotal as managers look to make playoff pushes. Keep an eye on player statuses and emerging trends as we head into Week 6.